Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are tackling a really fascinating paradox. Think about it. How exactly do you reconcile the vast, sweeping, seemingly endless scale of the United States with the hyper-condensed, elbow-to-elbow reality of its most famous metropolis, New York City?
It's quite the contrast. On one hand, you have this massive nation that is globally famous for the open road, sprawling modern highway networks, 50 distinct states, and a whopping 6 different time zones. And then on the flip side, you have New York City. We're talking just 5 tightly packed boroughs where space is at such a crazy premium that a staggering 55% of households don't even own a car. So you have a country practically built around the automobile, juxtaposed against a global hub where the vast majority of people rely entirely on their own 2 feet and the subway system.
So the big question is, how do you capture the essence of an entire global superpower, 50 states, 6 time zones, hundreds of millions of people, and somehow squeeze that entire national identity onto one single bustling island?
All right, Section 1, the global superpower. Let's look at the sheer scale and diversity.
347.3 million people. It's a massive number. That actually makes the U.S. the 3rd most populous country in the entire world, sitting just behind India and China. But, unlike those nations, all this human capital is spread out across an unimaginably large landmass, ranking as the 3rd largest country geographically too.
And because of that huge footprint, you basically have an entire planet's worth of environments zipped up inside one country's borders. Seriously, you've got year-round tropical rain in Hawaii and Florida, perfect coastal breezes in California, heavy continental snow dumping on the Midwest, harsh deserts out in the Southwest, freezing mountain peaks in the Rockies, and actual Arctic tundras up in Alaska.
So what exactly ties all of those totally different landscapes and people together? Well, it's the economic engine. The United States operates on a mixed economy. It brilliantly combines the high-speed innovation and productivity of private sector capitalism with the necessary stabilizing forces of the government, which steps in to fund massive infrastructure, healthcare, and education networks. This really delicate balance of private enterprise and public support powers an immense GDP, and, as you'll see in a minute, sets the stage for some intense financial concentration.
Which brings us to Section 2, Forging the Nation. Let's do a super quick history rundown.
Let's trace how we got here. The historical momentum really starts shifting in 1492 when Christopher Columbus reaches the Caribbean. Fast forward to 1624, and Dutch colonists set up a tiny trading post on the southern tip of Manhattan called New Amsterdam, which, fun fact, basically planted the mercantile DNA for what would eventually become Wall Street. Then comes 1776, the 13 colonies declare independence. The country explodes into an industrial powerhouse, and by 1886, the Statue of Liberty goes up in New York Harbor, acting as a beacon for global immigrants. Fast forward to 1952, the United Nations headquarters is completed, firmly cementing the city's geopolitical influence on the world stage.
And honestly, through all of that history, there's a beautifully simple motto from the Great Seal of the United States that perfectly captures the journey. E pluribus unum. Out of many, one. Out of many colonies, states, climates, and immigrants, a single, incredibly powerful national identity was forged.
Okay, moving into Section 3, we're zooming in. Let's talk about New York City itself.
To handle its explosive early growth, city planners introduced the Commissioner's Plan of 1811. They basically slapped this incredibly rigid, rectangular grid right on top of the wild island of Manhattan. Avenues running north to south, streets running east to west. But here's the genius part. It wasn't just about making the city easy to navigate. It literally chopped unpredictable nature up into neat, easily sellable parcels of real estate. It was the ultimate capitalist blueprint.
But of course, the city is way more than just Manhattan's grid. It's actually composed of 5 distinct boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and Staten Island, altogether holding an astonishing 8.8 million people. To put that scale into perspective, while Manhattan gets all the fame in the movies, Brooklyn alone has so many people that if it were its own city, it would be the 4th largest in the entire country. Just Brooklyn.
Section 4, the economic engine and the vertical city.
So, let's talk about the astonishing financial density happening in Lower Manhattan. Wall Street alone accounts for over 163,000 jobs just in the security industry, with average salaries hitting north of $422,000 a year. It is absolutely the center of the financial universe, housing both the New York Stock Exchange and the NASDAQ. The sheer amount of wealth generated in these few square miles is honestly hard to wrap your head around.
But here's the catch with an island. You cannot build outwards, so you're forced to build up and down. Level 1 is underground, where a massive 24/7 subway system moves millions of people every day. Level 2 is the chaotic street level, balancing the commercial blitz of Times Square with the 843-acre man-made oasis that is Central Park. Then, Level 3 pushes straight up into the sky with iconic skyscrapers like the 102-story Empire State Building. And finally, the peak, structures like the One World Trade Center, which give you a breathtaking 360-degree view of this entire vertical marvel.
But what is it actually like on the ground? Section 5. The realities of urban life.
The very first reality check every New Yorker faces is space. The cost of living out the American dream here is incredibly steep. I mean, the average rental cost for an apartment in Manhattan right now is around $4,200 a month, and that's for a mere 700 square feet. And Brooklyn? Not much cheaper, averaging $2,900 for just 651 square feet. Real estate is arguably the single most highly valued commodity in the entire city.
And look, this pressure cooker environment creates some undeniable extremes. On one side, you have unprecedented wealth. In 2021, the city was home to 99 billionaires, with Fifth Avenue boasting some of the most expensive luxury boutiques in the world. Yet, literally just blocks away, you find severe urban challenges. You see rising crime rates, 91,000 people experiencing homelessness in 2020, and really practical everyday issues like massive piles of garbage lining the sidewalks, which actually is a direct result of that brilliant 1811 grid failing to include back alleyways. It is a place of immense triumph, but also significant ongoing struggles.
But you know what? Despite those steep costs and those tough challenges, the people just keep coming. 3.2 million. That is the number of foreign-born residents currently living in New York City, the largest of any city in the world. From the Jewish communities in Borough Park, to the Asian communities in Flushing, to the Russian diaspora in Brighton Beach, it is the purest, most concentrated representation of the country's e pluribus unum melting pot ideal playing out in real time.
Which leads us straight to that legendary ethos. If you can make it here, you can make it anywhere. This is the fundamental reason why ambitious, hardworking, and creative people from all over the globe endure the high rent, the noise, the endless hustle, and the crowded subways. They come for the unparalleled energy. They come for the chance to succeed at the absolute highest levels of finance, fashion, and culture.
So, that leaves us with one final, kind of provocative thought to chew on. When you look at the immense, sprawling scale of the United States, and then you compare it to this hyper-dense, vertical, chaotic island, is New York City the ultimate exception to the American rule, or is it actually its purest realization?